Hello and welcome to Notes on Film. My name is Josue Peralta. This is day 7 of 10 as we review this year's Academy Award nominees for Best Score and Best Picture. Today's film is The Secret Agent by Kleber Mendonça Filho. The composer for The Secret Agent were brothers Mateus Alves and Tomaz Alves Souza. They have worked together with director Mendonça Filho in his prior film Bacurau. Before diving into the score, let's discuss the movie for a little bit of context. The Secret Agent centers around Wagner Moura's Armando, or Marcelo, who is a technology expert in 1977 Brazil during the dictatorship, where they want to get his technology and they're on the run, and he gets entangled with the resistance and he's trying to get out of the country and all of the things that he goes through because of his opposition. The movie is a political thriller. It deals on corruption. It deals on family. It deals on university funding. So many things that it's really hard to pinpoint what kind of genre it is. But somehow it works marvelously and definitely deserves its place as one of the top 10 films of the year. You never really knew where the film was going, with new characters being added all the time and new questions being asked that you were wondering where you would get the answers to. Unluckily for me, who loves resolutions, this isn't the kind of film where you get a lot of those answers. However, because of the way it's shot and the way the story is told, you still feel like you left the movie with a complete experience in the way that it went full circle, starting with Armando and ending the movie with his son, Fernando. All in all, a very enjoyable movie if it was almost 3 hours long. But like I said, it is so good that you don't really feel the length. Now let's get into the score composed by the Alves brothers, but before I do, let me put on my Clark Kent glasses just in case I'm too critical. I can say it was the other guy and it wasn't me. Starting out as always, how did the score play within the film? From the length of the movie, or how long it is compared to how long the score is, you would think that it would be a 1-to-1 or close to a 1-to-1 ratio. However, this is the longest film I have ever seen with the score that is also as equally as short. This is the shortest score album I have ever seen. Like I mentioned, the movie comes in at just shy of 3 hours, but the score itself is only 20 minutes. What that means is that the score is hardly in the film at all. It can't hardly be in there because of how short it is. It is only really in transitional scenes, and sparse ones at that, and from what I can remember, it's just when the baddies or when the bad guys are about to do something to build up the tension a little bit. It hardly uses the score when the protagonist is actually on screen, which is definitely an interesting choice. I will say that though unconventional, it does work. You don't feel like the score is missing at all because you are submerged in the movie and you are submerged in the experience. There are in fact exactly 2 moments that I can recall wherein a score is used in the traditional way. The first is in a neo-noir kind of classical horror surreal scene wherein a leg, if you know the film, you know what I'm talking about, when a leg comes up from a river and starts haunting people at this park, and in fact not just haunting but starts attacking them. It turns out to be a story being read from a newspaper, but all in all, the scene plays as a surrealist classical horror scene and the music plays along with it. The second part is when the movie transitions into a more modern setting wherein a more modern score is used. That makes a lot of sense, and I commend the Alves brothers for having the foresight and the wherewithal to accompany modern scenes with modern music, and it made a lot of sense, and that worked really, really well. Now, as a standalone album, I thought that it was interesting for what it is. Remember, I said that it was only 19 minutes long, so it's very short and very sweet, meaning that you're gonna jump in and you're gonna jump out very fast. It does evoke that 70s vibe that the movie is set in, so if you're looking for that kind of era to go along with it, you will find it here. Additionally, it does include some dialogue from the film in some of the songs, appearing as though it was just plucked from the film and just put into the album, not as if they put the music below, but that it was all just kind of one experience, one and the same. And again, that's interesting for what it is. I don't think that it's bad because I enjoyed thinking back on those scenes specifically as I listened to the music. But for the uninitiated or those who haven't seen the film, it is a little jarring to kind of have dialogue from the film in the song that you want to listen to from the Alves brothers. Like I mentioned, that horror scene from the film is represented here, and it plays very, very well. Something that is enjoyable on its own, I will say. Lastly, let's talk about the standalones or the bangers in this album that I liked. There were two. The first one is, like I mentioned, that horror element, which was, I'm going to butcher this, but it's called El Pasadelo do Menino Part 2. Or The Boy's Nightmare Part 2. And this is, again, that one scene that I really enjoyed. And the other one, which was my favorite, it was called Correos, Aeropuertos y Telegrafos, which is post office, airports, and telegraphs. It was lively, it was fun, and it was enjoyable. If I had to listen to it again, I would definitely go back to that one specifically. With the critic part done, let me go ahead and give my final thoughts on the score for The Secret Agent. So whereas an 8, 9, or 10 is Hall of Fame, a 5, 6, or 7 ranges from good to great, this one lands at a 5. It's average, it's good. By that I mean that if it does evoke its 70s elements really well, to where it's not unmemorable, meaning you're not necessarily going to look past it if you're looking for something like that, that horror element plays really good. It's, like I said, good, but it's not one that you will replay anytime soon. But like I said, it's good. But those are my thoughts on the score of The Secret Agent by brothers Mateus Alves and Tomaz Alves Souza. If you've listened to the score, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And while you're at it, the like and the subscribe button work too. You can find me personally on Instagram at It's Attractive if you have any show or any score recommendations that you want me to cover. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow for day 8 of 10 as we review this year's Oscars nominees for Best Score and Best Picture. See you all then. Thanks yet again. Take care. Peace.